Chad, you're talking to Eric and Owen. What would you like to talk about?
Hi, Eric.
Chad.
Hi, Owen.
Hey.
So I was calling in because I wanted to discuss some thoughts with you. A friend of mine is a pastor. I'm an atheist.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he and I have been working on a way to, one day instead of a sermon, he and I having a conversation in front of his congregation about the cliches Christians tell themselves about non-believers.
Ooh, I remember those. What are some of your favorites?
Well, so to be honest, I thought "Look at the Trees" was a straw man that atheists like to use about Christians, but then someone told me to look at the thunderstorm.
Yep. I actually remember looking at an atheist and genuinely trying to find physical tells to just see, like, scaly skin, or see if
that's funny.
If they smell like sulfur or something like that. Like, I really thought that there was some physical.
If flies land on them, then you know they're an atheist, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm sorry. Go ahead with your story.
Well, yeah. So I was just looking for advice on how to be as productive, non-confrontational with this conversation in a way that we can maybe show some believers that outside their bubble, there's a whole other world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you asking for maybe primers or help in opening up those conversations? How can we help?
Yeah, I guess so. Cause we were cause he and I have been talking about this ahead of time, of course, and we haven't figured out a date yet. So some of the things I was looking at was, so this idea that somehow God is self-evident. Well, if God was self-evident, we wouldn't be having the conversation to begin with. This idea that I just want to sin but I don't want to just go in there and be like, you're all wrong.
No,
I don't think that would be
it's really difficult
way to. Yeah,
I absolutely agreed. In finding believers to talk to and having those conversations, it can be really, really tough. And finding avenues to do that is rough. A couple of places that I would suggest, go on Reddit. There are a lot of different places where you can talk to Christians. Just be careful because there's some toxicity there. But it's definitely worth hopping in. You can also hop onto our Discord. If you haven't been to the ACA Discord, it's worth checking out. Tons of people, both believers and non-believers, talking to each other and having a good time and creating community. So you're absolutely welcome to check out our Discord. But finding people physically nearby, even without COVID, is tough. You can't force somebody to have that conversation with you. And it's so rare that people do want to have that conversation that getting good at it is difficult. It's really difficult. My best suggestion is to utilize the internet, because that's where you're going to find people who are wanting to put themselves out there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and on Facebook right now, I'm in a conversation with someone who is trying to convince me the election was fraudulent and stolen, and I'm trying to use some of
Here we go.
I'm trying to use some of the same methods in that conversation because I think it's good practice.
Well, if people are watching and they believe that the United States election was a fraud, call in, tell us what you believe and why. And I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Oh, would you be up for that conversation?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I talk about this all the time on my podcast. There are some real nutters out there.
All right. If you believe in QAnon, or if you believe that the election was fraud, call 512-991-9242. We want to talk to you. Hey, Chad, best of luck to you, man.
Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, it can be tough, and you don't want to push people into conversations they don't want to have. So finding those forums where they make themselves available is going to be the best.
Okay. All right. Can I just say to Owen, I'm a big fan of you as well, Eric.
That's awesome. I appreciate
Owen,
that.
I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and I really appreciated your video on Seventh-day Adventist.
No way. That's awesome. I really need to do another video on them. I haven't done one in a long time, but I'm so glad that, you know, that helped in some way. Appreciate that.
Good.
Yeah, I knew growing up Seventh-day Adventist that people were always back and forth on whether or not we were a cult or not. And you kind of helped clear some of that up even after I'm no longer a believer.
Definitely. I'm also really interested in like the history behind it, because they have a lot of like links to Jehovah's Witnesses. They kind of sprung out of the same, like, you know, the same origins, the same church. They have a lot of similar beliefs and stuff. So really fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Glad you found your way out, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I did as well. And Talk Heathen, Atheist Experience, Vice Rhino, Telltale, they were all a part of that journey for me, actually, just within the last year. So
that's awesome. I will tell Vice Rhino you said that. I was actually talking to him earlier. So
yeah, you picked a good group.
Yeah.
Happy to hear it. All right. Chad, thank you for calling us. Take care, buddy.
Yep, thank you.